Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball. You already know who I'm here with. My guy Hoops and MMA, Dr. Hoops, however you want to call him. How's it going, my man?
Great, brother. Just eating pepperoni rolls this morning. I'm excited to talk to you about hoops, dude. Fuck yeah.
Pepperoni rolls are fire, so I
I
respect
appreciate
that.
it.
The first thing I want to talk about, a lot of like weird, specific incidents that happened this week. And I think let's start off with the whole Tim Hardaway, Tyrese Haliburton beef that kind of came out of nowhere. So Tim Hardaway was, randomly on a podcast. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Gil's Arena. Is it correct?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yes, because that's what I thought.
The
I just wanted to
live
make
show.
sure. Yes, it was a live show too, and he basically said if I go back and like suit up, he wants to like f up Tyrese Haliburton, like because he talks so much stuff, and he basically was just going after him like crazy. Halliburton responded and said like, why don't you tell him the real reason? So it seems like there's like just some weird beef there. So I'll ask you, with this dynamic between the two of them, I guess like who would probably get the better end? What do you make of it? And then just what do you make of like weird random beefs like this?
Now the comparison as a player, I mean they're so actually that's there's such a similar level of player. I will say I just think Tim Hardaway obviously didn't benefit from his era. I hate to do this like hypothetical stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but Tyrese Haliburton really has no self-creation scoring game. He all his scoring game comes off of his playmaking value, and he plays off of that. Now the fucking beef is fucking weird as shit. It seems like Eddie Jones was former teammates with Tim, and he allegedly Eddie Jones is also cousins or nephews with Haliburton, and allegedly slept with Tim Hardaway's wife. Now it seems weird to go at the cousin for something like that and hold on to that. I'm sure. Hey, Hallie also is a snow bunny. He goes for the snow bunnies, and he's clearly out fucking. I have to say it, plainly. Like he gets maybe Tim Hardaway's daughter. Maybe who knows? Who knows what's going on there? Maybe he said something about his son. He's always been a vocal guy, Tim Hardaway, though.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely caught me off guard too. Wasn't totally expecting it, but
Like what?
you know, I guess with that being said, if they did happen to go head to head, I probably would lean toward Tim Hardaway,
Yeah.
personally. Just because, like you said, like self creation. Like if it was a 1-on-1 scenario, I think that really
You have
limits
to go Tim Hardaway.
Halliburton a bit.
1-on-1.
Yeah,
No question.
like I think Halliburton definitely thrives more in a like team oriented game. But even then, it's like definitely caught me off guard, and I didn't even know that thing that you said about like with Eddie Jones. Like that's just crazy. If that's what he's like holding out a grudge or something against him for, that's nuts.
But hey, short man syndrome. These. I'll tell you, nobody represents it more than Tim Hardaway. He has always been a vocal, bitchy guy.
Mm, yeah, I don't know. It's just like a really weird, unexpected beef. I mean, like Halliburton's had two now. He's had this one and then the Wally Zerbiak one.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I
like
forgot.
which was kind of odd. But it even had me
Yeah,
thinking.
Wally went at him for what? Jeez,
He said
that
he was just
the
like a
weirdest-
fraud all-star, and then I mean, I don't know. Is he right
He was
now? I don't know.
Wally Zerbiak is maybe the biggest fraud all-star of all time. Why is he talking? He made an all-star team. Can we believe that?
It's so weird because that still is crazy in hindsight. But it's just weird how then the next year he had like a I proved you wrong year, and then this year it's almost like a Wally 1 year or something. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
dude.
It's like 1-1, right?
Halliburton's walking backwards. He is unimproving. I mean,
Yeah.
really, not the trajectory you would expect. I mean, yeah, disappointed.
But yeah, there's just these weird beefs. Like it had me thinking too about a tweet I saw about a month ago, and I didn't talk about it on the show, but when Şengün made the All-Star team, and like Vernon Maxwell was kind of like praising him, and then pretty much said like they've been letting like these fraud turkeys from Utah in the All-Star game for years, and I'm like, what? And you look back and it's like the only guy who is from Turkey that played for Utah was Mehmet Okur, who never played against Vernon Maxwell. So it's like, what
Just a
is
shot at Meme Court.
just casually like Vernon Maxwell and Mehmet Okur beef? Like,
Now, Vernon Maxwell is another like short man syndrome of that. He's an angry. I like Vernon though. He is hilarious. And
yeah,
I'll say Meme Court Well, I love his game, and he is like a very rare, like, oh, this 7-footer that can absolutely smack threes, come off screens and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the weakest all-stars of all time.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I do think he was a capable all-star player. Like he was capable of making it, but it's just like he made
it's
like
a Korver. It's
like a Chris Kaman
all-star.
Yeah.
Chris Kaman, yeah. Although Chris Kaman kind of filled it up.
Yeah, he was.
But at the same time, these guys, Vernon Maxwell during his era, James fucking Donaldson was an all-star. So I don't really want like we can slander whatever this era of the early 2000s or whatever, which is a weak era. You had James Donaldson making all-star teams. Like I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that would be great. I think someone needs to, I don't know if it's like on 2K or something, maybe get them out like right now, like way past their prime. Mehmet Okur and Vernon Maxwell, and then like maybe like a Tim Hardaway versus Tyrese Haliburton like showdown or something. Just all the beats. Yeah.
Vernon Maxwell could fill it up too. I mean,
it'd have the old school energy, I'm sure. But
oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add there before we move on to the next topic.
What do I want to say about Tim Hardaway? Nah, that's it.
Okay. If you think about it, you can, I guess, bring it up later. But we can move on to the next thing, which is talking about Bobby Portis and his recent 25-game suspension. He was kind of getting a little frisky on the sauce and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think we haven't really seen something like this in a while. Obviously, 25 games from now, it's going to be, I think, just right before the playoffs. So I guess that's good. But what do you make of this and just these sort of suspensions in general?
Well, it seems to be pretty clear that it was an accident, and it's a banned painkiller. So not really a performance enhancer. 25 games seems insane to me for taking a painkiller. I mean, that's what it was. That's it. So whatever's on the banned substance list, maybe we have to separate the severity of what it is. Like if you're taking steroids, if you're making or EPO or something that is, or a growth hormone, okay, that's really beneficial, right? If you're taking a painkiller because you're in pain, we don't need to suspend a guy for 25 games, especially at this point in the year. What are we doing? I mean, we're just making an example out of nothing. So I think it's stupid.
Yeah, and I saw something too. Like I think it was his assistant that mixed up the names and the labels of them.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't even his fault.
Yeah, it wasn't even what he was supposed to be taking. So 25 games does seem crazy. I don't know. I mean, maybe you suspend him a couple games, just maybe 2 or 3, just because it's
right. I mean, it's an honest mistake. Seriously,
yeah.
Right.
But I feel like the assistant really should be more at fault, fined or something.
Yeah, you're done. You're fired. You can't make. You're an assistant, dude. Your room for error is not that. But yeah, honestly, little conspiracy. Maybe the league wants Giannis to leave, and maybe this is just we're gonna do anything we can to screw the Bucks, get Giannis getting pissed and getting out of here. I don't know.
Yeah, because we haven't really seen suspensions like this in a while. I know, before we started recording, we talked about Ayton, John Collins. I mean, maybe Draymond, when he got suspended indefinitely. But, I don't even think that was 25 games. And
25 games, to me, you have to be – I mean, Miles Bridges, listen,
well, yeah.
I'm just saying he beat a woman, up to a bloody pulp.
Right.
30 games. So – and that was to start a year. So it's not even as impactful, really. At this point, 25 games, it's you're fucking up your whole team's rotation and flow going into the playoffs. So I think this is it's terrible. It's really unfortunate for the Bucks. I mean, you got to be pissed if you're a Bucks fan.
Yeah, and for Miles Bridges' sake, I mean, he is on the Hornets, so it wasn't impactful in that way. Really,
yeah, right. Yeah.
They're just bad regardless. I feel like it was kind of crazy. Maybe a couple games, but I am a little surprised that I guess Adam Silver and the crew still had the balls to pull this off, just because it seems like they're very player friendly and they don't want to see guys.
It feels that way, right?
Yeah,
they're the most player friendly, owner of any league in the history of sports, almost. So strange. And John Collins and Ayton, they tested positive for steroids or real performance enhancing drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So and they would get the same. I think it's ridiculous. Yeah, really unfortunate. I'm pissed if I'm the Bucks. I'm just absolutely pissed about this. Bobby's still been really shit this year.
Yeah,
but regardless, they have no depth, and they need whatever they can get.
I mean, I guess the good thing is, at least in the last couple of games, Brook Lopez has played better. So if he can keep that up, then maybe like it shouldn't be too bad. But you don't want him to be like overexerted and tired and stuff come playoff time either.
Right, you rely on Bobby to fill in those Brook minutes at center and the Giannis minutes. Like
especially too, Giannis was like injured, like, and he still kind of is on a minutes restriction. So yeah,
brutal. Now we're getting, what is it? Who's their rookie? Is it AJ Green or something? Or no. Oh God, what's the AJ Johnson or something is going to get minutes now?
I think they moved him for the Middleton deal.
He was that was the guard, but they had this. Who was the forward they drafted this year? Some real basic name, generic name. It was, can't even recall what it was.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, realistically, it's just going to be tough for the Bucks. They should still be fine to get top 6. I think that's kind of their goal right now, just with how everything's shaping up. Like, just stay above the play-in, which I still think they should do. I mean, all those teams in the play-in and stuff, they have their own, like the Magic have been sliding. The Heat have, really not played well since the deadline. The Hawks have cleaned house. The Bulls are the Bulls. So, like, yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the Bucks are complete fake contenders, though. I just want to say, I mean, there's fake contenders more so than the Lakers get labeled this probably more than any team.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, the Bucks, I just can't. How are you going to trust a team led by Doc Rivers in 2025? I can't. I mean, there's no way I'm going to do it. And you're relying on a 37-year-old Brook Lopez to like get you 15 and play good defense every night, just to be competitive. This team, Dame is going to have to go nuclear, turn back the clock, or they're going to have to find some kind of chemistry. He's going to have to be able to throw lobs. Giannis is going to have to learn to set screens. I don't see it. I think they're going to, and I think the Suns are going to blow it up this offseason. But I think this is the real sleeper team to blow it up. I could see the Bucks just blowing. Dame has not been happy since he got there. I mean, I don't know. You can just tell by his interviews, by his, he's just not fired up about playing in Milwaukee. So
I will say I do think he's at least a little bit more accepting of it than he was last year. But it still is like, But the only thing that's just, I guess, like worries me for them is like, I know Middleton had so many injuries, but the one thing you couldn't say about him is like he always showed up in the playoffs. Like, so the fact that they got rid of him, bringing a guy like Kuzma, like that's going to be the real thing. That's like people are going to look at in the playoff. Like, is Kyle Kuzma going to do what Chris Middleton is? I don't think he can do what Chris Middleton did in the playoffs.
He won't. Like, to me, I didn't like the move because it's a bad like cultural sentiment to like, oh, this guy's won a championship with us. He's been with us forever, and he still always performs in the playoffs, even if he takes it slow in the regular season and is definitely on his last, run here. So, but we're going to trade Kyle Kuzma. Now, the one I will say about Kyle, the creation is gone, gives you better look in transition, gives you more, is a good cutter. And now he's a guy who legitimately can play the 4, and maybe some Giannis at the 5 minutes now are going to be more, So, I schematically, I like the move. I just as a cultural sentiment, I don't like trading like a multi-time All-Star who's been there for you, who's your guy, and Chris Middleton, who also always steps up when you really need him to. So,
yeah.
Well, I mean, he was shit. I mean, even last regular season, it was like Chris Middleton shit, and then he drops a 40 ball in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's there.
He was good in the playoffs last year. But we'll see if they do, lineups like that. Put Kuzma at the 4, Giannis at the 5 a bit, especially with Portis out now.
Definitely
might be useful. But if you want,
it's time.
Yeah, if you want, we can keep it pushing here. Move on to the next topic, talking about obviously a lot of people were praising the NHL for their nations type of tournament thing with the 4 different countries. I think it was the USA, Canada, Finland, and Sweden, and then Canada came out on top. And it was a major hit, and I know people have been talking about the USA versus World All-Star game for a while now. A lot of people have been like, no, that's not going to solve anything. Some people have been like, well, that'll be way more entertaining. So I guess, like, do you think they should do a format like this? Because the All-Star game this year was trash. Let's be real, it was trash.
It's terrible. I mean, well, you have to do something other than what was happening this year. Now, I don't know if even the format this year, it could have worked. It's just about the presentation being so atrocious. I would love to see something, and every year I would like something different. And, in my ideal world for an All-Star, it's like, okay, this year we're doing World versus U.S. This year we're doing whatever, this format or this format, and we're going to include the whatever. But I think now this is the issue with the World USA. Now you have to have as many guys from the world as the USA. You know what I'm saying? So now you have to find this balance in the numbers. And now we're going to be picking guys off of that, which, some years it's not going to, it's like, some guys are going to get left out who shouldn't. But I think it's a good idea. I definitely like that. I mean, you saw for Canada and, for hockey, it definitely fucking worked because those guys have to take pride in where they're from. It's a different thing. Guys getting fired up about an All-Star game. That's what you need at the end of the day. Like, hockey figured it out. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, even this year in the All-Star game, I think because of the 24 All-Stars, there was 8, on the world side of it, and really 7. I mean, 8 if you include Donovan Mitchell, whose mom's from Panama, but he's, not really, world,
I didn't know this Donovan Mitchell lore. What?
His mom's from Panama, but,
okay,
he's not really foreign.
So he has citizenship of, another,
okay. But he's not, I mean, I don't know. He doesn't really count, in my opinion. They were just trying to find, a loophole.
Yeah, dude, he's American.
Yeah.
He's got American vibes.
So,
he went to college for multiple years, and, yeah.
But, I mean, you think, if there's 12 on a team and there's 7 for it, and then you got to find 5 other. Now I'm sure you could.
That's what I'm saying.
You could probably find Sabonis and stuff who didn't make it, but how do you find the other 3 or 4?
Well, I will say is regardless, we need to extend the amount of All-Stars. In my opinion, I mean, I think we're at a point where our league is just too talented. I can't remember who said this, but some former player, somebody was like, it's time to extend the All-Star team. I mean, there's just too much talent. We're missing. Sabonis is having an historically great. Now, I think he's a terrorist when it comes to the playoff time and really winning. But I mean, you can't. You can't leave this guy out of an All-Star game. I mean, and De'Aaron Fox is so entertaining. Every year, this guy's getting left off. I mean, I can't. Trae Young has to be cut every other year. It's it's time to extend the amount of All-Stars we have. I mean. No question. That's my feeling. I mean, what is it now? 24?
It's 20. So 12 per side.
Yeah, that's just too little. I think we need. Let's get 16 on each conference. Then we have 18. We can do this 8-team roster stuff that we were doing, play to 40 type of stuff. If you want to, I think 16 is. You can figure it out. Yeah, that to me.
Yeah, I think asked some of my guys from the Running the Paint podcast. I feel like it needs to move up to 15, at 15, 15, 16, something like that.
A full roster. That's at least a full roster.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that, I know there's guys maybe that haven't played up to par this year, a Devin Booker or, obviously Fox the last month, maybe wasn't all too great or anything like that. But maybe Tyrese Maxey, he missed some games. There's another one. But these are guys that's they're not in the All-Star game. It just feels weird. Luka as well, even though Luka's missed some time.
Right.
There's just so many players that didn't make it that you think
Kyrie was having such a great year. Somebody had to get injured for him to get in.
Yeah.
That we can't rely on injuries for deserving guys. Norman Powell is having one of the best off-ball scoring years I've ever seen in my life. I mean, historically great year.
He would have made it if there was 15.
He gets left off. He wasn't even the next pick. It's dang.
Yeah.
Time to extend the All-Star rosters, I think.
I do think he would have made it if there's 15. I mean, especially because you think about it, they had one replacement, and then LeBron and Anthony Edwards sat out. So and they were saying you
and that
Norman Powell.
Pisses me off. I just want to say,
yeah,
LeBron James. I know you're 40. You fucking suit up. You don't even not suit up. That's a clown. That's such a clown show. I'm a LeBron glazer. I mean, but that is an embarrassment and unacceptable. Anthony Edwards, you're not, especially you, dude. What are you doing? And now you just wasted 2 All-Star spots on guys.
Yeah. Chandler Parsons actually, I think, brought up a interesting point about LeBron and said if Bronny was on the Rising Stars team that was playing, you think he would have played? Yeah.
Right.
So.
Absolute. Now, Chandler Parsons, another real bitchy former player. I love him, dude. I love it. He's bitchy about all the right stuff, too. Yeah. He gets fired up. I love it.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I think regardless whether it's USA or versus World or something, they just need to make a change. The All-Star game. I
You
think we both agree.
have to do something different. This
Yeah,
what happened this year. I think the biggest issue, more so than the setup, was the presentation. Kevin Hart,
and there was
Shaquille
no
O'Neal.
basketball.
I mean, those
Honestly.
guys those guys. I'm so glad we're moving away from TNT because they hate the game and they make the dialogue about the game so negative. We have to have guys like Zach Lowe and JJ, or guys who, at least even Nick Wright, who's like actually has some, open mindedness and has a positive outlook on the game. They're not just hating on the game and just stuck in the past. So,
Yeah.
And I'm a big Barkley guy. I love hearing anything Barkley has to say. There's so much negativity. It's just terrible dialogue.
Yeah, we'll see what the next move is for the All-Star game, for TNT, and the rest. But yeah, if you want here, we can keep it pushing and move on to next topic. This one's not really anything too crazy, but obviously the MVP conversation. It seems like it's really between kind of two guys right now, Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. A lot of the recent ladders have had Shai at 1 and Jokic at 2. But obviously, Nuggets, they were on a 9-game win streak. I know they lost their most recent game to the Lakers, but went on 9 straight wins, albeit against some pretty bad teams. But ultimately people are looking at like where you finish in the standings as part of it as well. Jokic, a guy averaging a triple-double, and he's putting up a lot more over the stretch. But Shai's, still kind of doing his thing. So I think, like, if the Nuggets keep moving up forward, get closer in the standings, how do you think that, like, kind of makes things a little bit more interesting down the stretch of the season here?
We can act like it's a race. Shai is going to win it. We know Shai is going to win it. And we also know Jokic is the best player in the league. But why are even the Nuggets winning? It's not even because Jokic has upped his player, been incredible, right? He's actually kind of not been awesome on this winning streak and on this run they've had. It's because of Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray. Those guys stepping up is why they've been winning so much. And maybe that should help Jokic's MVP case. But listen, if it went to the best player every year, LeBron would have 7 MVPs. But that's not what we do. Now he's got 3. Voters are bored. They're bored. Shai is going to get it. Shai is the best player on the best team. So, and he's going to be the leading scorer, and he shows up every night and puts up 30. I mean, he's having a historic year. He's going to win MVP. But Jokic is still the best player in basketball. I want to be clear with that.
Yeah. Here's the one thing I will say, though, is just that, I mean, obviously most of the biggest, I think the X factor and why they were winning so many games lately has just been like the play of Jamal Murray. He's actually looking like Jamal Murray,
a nuclear shot maker.
Yeah, he looks like Jamal Murray. We remember, but like, while he's been playing up so well, I think we also have to take into account just how the Thunder have played so well throughout the course of the year. I mean, Jalen Williams was an all-star, and like, Lou Dort, like when Alex Caruso's been out there, like these guys are all defensive level players.
Hey, let's also mention Aaron Wiggins.
Wiggins too. Yep, Isaiah Joe. Like they just have so many weapons. I think that they definitely have like a deeper team. But like, and I think with the Nuggets playing well over the last couple games, it almost feels like it was long overdue for like guys like that to play. I mean, guys have been out too. Like Aaron Gordon's missed a lot of games this year. I know, Westbrook, Michael Porter Jr., like there's been guys that have just been out. But, regardless, I do think Jokic statistically, like if we're not factoring in like, just like the two side of the floor type of thing, like the two-way play, because you're not going to see as much like analytically on the defensive side as the offensive side. The average fan is not going to see as much represented there. But if you're just looking at his like stats, I mean, you could argue it's like the most impressive season ever. I mean, 30-point
peak. This is the greatest version of any player we've ever seen.
It's a 30-point triple-double, like on the highest PER ever, one of the highest like true shooting percentage ever. I always say too, like, I mean, there's been guys who maybe won MVP if they're like top 10 in like 2 stats. Like right now, he's like top 3 in points, rebounds, assists. I think he's like top 10 in steals. He's top 3 in 3-point percentage.
And then all the advanced metrics too, the box plus minus, the win shares, all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he is again, we said this earlier in the year, and it's kind of fizzled out, this conversation, but have conversations of this is the greatest version of any player we've ever seen. Like, really. So,
and I know
it's hard to not give that guy when you have those conversations MVP, but it's just like, dude, like, voter fatigue, it just exists, and it's just boring to give this white guy, I'm sorry, not to know who cares, but give this guy a 4th MVP. It's like, look at this historically great team on this historically great year this guy's having too. So it's like, I get it, it's fresh.
And I know Shea, I mean, is definitely like the better defender, but I will also say too, I mean, like, you got to factor in just like what he's had, like the role he's had this year compared to other years. You could argue maybe he's like the 3rd or 4th best defensive player on his team now, which is crazy to think about.
They are attacking him. This is what I'll say.
Yeah.
He has these high block and steal numbers. I mean, he's a very good on-ball defender, but I mean, he is most of the time the 5th guy. I mean, they're attacking him because he's their number 1 guy. You want to expend as much energy as for the best player. You want him to be working his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
So you attack him, but he is usually their 5th best defender. And Jokic, while he's not a vertical threat at the rim, isn't going to contest shots. Dude, that guy gets in passing lanes, and he has some of the best hands I'd see out of any big in the league. I mean, he just anticipates plays really well defensively. Yeah, I think he's a little underrated, actually, defensively, I would say.
I would agree. That's even kind of the point I was going to make. Like, I feel like the Nuggets supporting cast is so bad defensively. They even said the other day they're like the worst defensive team in the first quarter, especially like in the league. Like, I feel like you could almost argue like Jokic is like one of their better defenders, and that's not good for the team. Like, that shouldn't be the case. But the fact that that's also like the responsibility he has to do there, I do think it becomes interesting as we get down the stretch here. Because I'll be real with you. I think if I were voting, I would vote Jokic as the MVP. But I do think Shea is probably going to get it. Like, that's just how I feel like.
Right. That just feels like what's going to. It seems set in stone.
Yeah.
That Shea is going to win the MVP. This is his year, But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think like, man, who would I vote for? I mean, I've always had this philosophy as a LeBron fan that I would vote the best player, but it's like, nah. I love Shea a lot. I think I do see. I think this is a deserving MVP if he were to get it. But Jokic, he is just clearly better at basketball. This is. Again, maybe the best version of any player I've ever witnessed. Like, really.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see. I do think if it were like the 2022 year, even though like Jokic was missing teammates there and stuff, like, but if his team was sitting like 6th or 7th, this probably isn't a conversation anyways. I think the fact that the Nuggets, if they do keep climbing, let's say they're probably not going to finish better than OKC in the standings, but if they can finish 2nd and they kind of narrow the gap a little bit, I think it does.
And they win 60 games too. Like,
yeah. Or if they're even like maybe 4 or 5 games below them. I mean, like, dude, that's so close. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, okay, how much are we going to value team success here when this guy is still dusting him in every single advanced statistic or, every other statistic other than points, scored.
Yeah, nah, for sure. But we'll have to see what happens. I think it's going to be an interesting race nonetheless. Definitely going to be a closer. Probably one of the closer races we've seen in a while.
And I want to say this version of Shea is better than any version of Kobe Bryant ever.
Wow.
Point blank period. Single year regular season. This is the best.
2005,
2006, whatever number year, 2007. I don't care. Shea is better than any version of Kobe I've ever seen.
As a Kobe fan, I mean, I don't know if you can see, but he's on my wall.
Yeah.
Right there. I'm not gonna go that far, but Shea's definitely having a year that will definitely be remembered.
Definitely D Wade. We can agree. As a D Wade hater, we'll definitely better than any D Wade.
I'll give you D Wade. I know you
give me that.
You don't like D Wade, but I mean D Wade's okay, but like I'm not like a huge D Wade fan, so I'll give you that. But Kobe's a little extreme for me. But nah, so we can move on though. We can get on to these last couple topics that are a little fun to end the show. And the first one I want to start off here with, it's called the Honor of the Week. So I'm gonna put like kind of like 1 minute on the clock. Now you don't have to go exactly like 1 minute, but like just kind of like roughly a little synopsis of a player. It's gonna be a former player that I know you can literally praise, you could hate on him, however you want to talk about him. And yeah, so are you ready?
Oh, I'm excited. Yes.
All right. So as soon as I say the name, you can go ahead and start talking about him. But your player is Rajon Rondo.
Rajon Rondo. Now, this guy, the hood loves Rajon Rondo. I see a lot of discourse about Rondo. I saw some Drenchman Sports or something. He was talking about Rondo versus Nash. We can't have these conversations. Rondo walked in, drafted into one of the most talented rosters of all time. Good for him. You won a title, and I get he's this savant. He's this savant. He got blessed into getting into going to LA and got in these great situations to be a winning player and have this. This is what I'll say about Rondo, though. I've always felt this way about players. You have got to look to score. If you're not a threat to score, I just don't think highly of you as a player. So I've never been a Rondo guy. What, you're shooting 57, 60% from the free throw line? You're like intentionally not going to the rim to get fouled, like just because you don't want to get fouled. It's pathetic. And a lot, even the assists, even when you look at Rondo, it's like, oh, look at his assist numbers. It's him pounding the ball, and it's KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen running off a screen. Oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Those are, you're not creating anything. I just want to say. So, fuck Rondo. Yeah. Not a Rondo guy. That's how I feel about Rajon. What a stupid name, too. No, it's cool. It's actually a cool name. I'm like, Rajon Rondo.
I think he said his mom just like made it up on the fly.
Yeah. Mom was just making shit up, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I will say, obviously, I was never a big Rondo fan in his prime. I think like as his career went on a little bit more, he bugged me a little bit less, I will say. But I do think I agree with you. And here's what I'll say. Like, same thing you've talked about with Ben Simmons, and like really what's hurt his career is just the fact that he like doesn't look to score. I think if Rondo's prime were happening today, especially as a smaller guard, like trying to do something like that,
done. He would be eviscerated from basketball.
Yeah. It's very similar to, I don't know, like his role would have to be like a Chris Dunn almost, because like a great defender, like for a guard.
He would have to become more of an on-ball defender. You'd have to be
just like not an offensive threat at all, really.
A guy like that can't have the ball all the time anymore. There's just no way. You just can't. You have to be able to score. He could not score. And it also, I'm a Jason Kidd lover, which is actually funny that I am. It's kind of contradictory, but like at least Jason Kidd pushed an issue and wasn't scared to take 15, 20 shots. I mean, I will say though, Rondo had some historically insane playoff series, was going right at LeBron. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So as much as I've slandered him, he is an incredible athlete too. I mean, just physically a specimen,
And that's what I was going to get into as well. Like, I feel like, just comparing him, like how he'd be treated, it would be similar to Chris Dunn. I think he's miles ahead skill-wise than a player like Chris Dunn. Like, he's one of the best, probably a top 5, top 10 passer ever. I think he's one of the better guard defenders too. I don't think they necessarily win that championship, or maybe even like the Lakers won, if he's not the defender he is too. So, I mean, you definitely got to factor that in. And he was a really great rebounder for a player of that size too.
Oh, no question. And there's value in being a guy who can just get it off the glass and just net your offense is in. You know what I'm saying? He's 90 feet. So. And I respect Rondo for sure. I'm just saying, I'm not a fan of listen, you just no scoring game. It is just pathetic at 6'2". I mean, jeez, dude.
Yeah.
60. I mean, he would have I remember his Kings years. I mean, or whatever. I can't remember the years, but shooting was the worst free throw shooter in the league as a lead guard. I mean, that's.
Yeah, I will say though. I mean, he was definitely a player that wasn't afraid of the moment, a clutch player, I would even say.
No question.
And
he stepped up. He was a playoff riser, no question.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when he went against D Rose and when it was Rose's rookie year, it was really those two. If Rondo doesn't play as well as he does, I think we beat him.
Oh, you definitely beat him. Yeah, if Rondo doesn't go nuclear, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, they didn't even have KG that series, so I don't know. I think it would have been definitely us.
I do think Ray Allen was
huge
the best player. I think that was a Ray Allen series. It was definitely a Ray Allen Rondo series.
Yeah, sure. Ray Allen was a little bit more clutch, especially that shot, I believe, at the end.
He was scoring. Yeah, he was the one. Yeah.
Yeah, but nonetheless, it's interesting. I'm really curious to see if he ends up in the Hall of Fame. I feel like he
wow!
He has a chance, but I don't know.
We're talking about Rondo in the Hall of Fame?
Well, it's possible, but I don't know if it'll happen.
Let's go through this. Can we go through his accolades real quick? Because
yeah.
we'll say, like, for me, I'm thinking baseline, low-level All-Star. You got to have 6 All-Star appearances, something like that, a couple All-NBAs, and a title, right?
Right.
And you got to play at least, a good amount. What is he at?
I think he's
3 All-Stars?
I think he's a 4-time All-Star. I think he made All-NBA, I want to say like 2 or 3 times.
3? I don't think he made it 3 times. I think he's a 1 or 2. Well, okay, we'll say 3.
He only made
4-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA.
He made it once.
Couple-time All-Defense.
But he was a 3-time assist champ, a steal champ, 4-time All-Defense, and then a 2-time champ, of course. And of course, I mean, you got to factor in just like the big moments. I mean, this guy played in 3 finals? 3 finals.
You're right.
Yeah.
Playoff riser, definitely. But then now where's Tim Hardaway? We were just talking about Tim Hardaway. That guy's not in the Hall of Fame.
Well, they put him in recently, but he wasn't a first ballot.
Oh, he did get in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, he was like one of the guys that was like, man,
he got in, I think, with Ginobili and Lou Hudson that year. It was like just a couple.
Oh, that's a weak year. Well, Ginobili, I will say, you get a gold medal and you beat Team USA. I mean, you're the best player. I think you got it. And then you're one of the winningest players ever. I know Ginobili's like, basic NBA resume doesn't like stack to most Hall of Famers, but he's a you know what I'm saying? He's a guy who's got to get in.
And I mean, it's tough. I don't know if he'll get in, especially because I know ever since he retired, I think he's been arrested a couple times.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Your boy if you have to pick one, your boy Rose, unbiasedly, or Rondo, who gets in? Who do you prefer getting in?
D Rose. I agree. And I feel like I don't even know if that's too much just bias. I feel like he's just more notable of a player.
Absolutely. I think he's more impactful to the game. I mean, if your college career matters too. I mean, Rondo was a winning player in college, but I think the impact on the game of basketball. I mean, he was one of the faces of the sport for half a decade. I mean, even when he wasn't like an All-NBA guy, he was still one of the faces of the league. I think that means something. And also, I'm a big Pete guy. If you win an MVP in the NBA, I mean, it's hard to like. No. I don't know. I'm in support of D Rose getting into the Hall of Fame. I am, because you have an MVP, that you're the best player in the best basketball league in the world. Like,
facts.
For 1 year or not, I don't care. You're in, dude.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I do agree with you on Rose there, and we'll see if that happens for Rondo. I think it's possible he could squeak in 1 year. On a weaker year, he could squeak in. But
is Chauncey in?
Yeah, they just put him in like a year ago, I think.
So Kyle Lowry or Rondo for you?
You might not like what I'm going to say, but I would say Rondo.
Oh, I just see, I would disagree. Okay, so you don't think Lowry should get in?
I mean, I think he could get in maybe one day. I don't think he's going to be first ballot though.
He's a 6-time All-Star, dude.
It's just such a weird career. Like, and I think of it like notoriety of a player as well. And I feel like Rondo has that edge a little bit. Like, that's why I think D Rose would definitely get in over Rondo, because not only is he peak tire, but like just there's way more of a possibility
about him.
Yeah,
he's the popular player.
I think that is probably the case a little bit more in Rondo's case than Lowry, even though I think the average fan, well, I don't know, they're both hated to a degree. So I don't know.
Personally, I'm a big Lowry guy. I'm a big Billups guy. I think he is basically, to me, that's what I look at as like, okay, that's a Hall of Fame career. He was a role, whatever. He was what he was, and then he had a run as one of the 5 best guards or point guards in the league for like 7 years. Won a title, and then he still was a good role player. And he played all these games. He was super impactful for so long. I think Lowry definitely deserves to get in. If we're talking about Rondo and Rose, Lowry's in. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys. Pointers and knives,
The one thing I'll say about Lowry, and then we can get into the mini game here, is like, I think the one thing that holds it back for me is like he never was like a top 10 player in the league, you know, and like players like that have achieved.
Was he never a second team All-NBA?
Yeah, but that's not
right.
necessarily.
I think only one time All-NBA.
That's not necessarily like a top 10 player in the league, even if you are second team.
That's fair.
So I mean, I don't know. I feel like he was always maybe like top 15 at his best. I'll say top like 12, 15 range, but I don't think he was that high. And I think that's the same thing with another guy like Joe Johnson, who made 7 All-Star teams. He was great. He was clutch, but I don't think he was ever a top 10 player in the league.
I agree. Joe Johnson also didn't win as much as we like to think he did. And statistically, he's not as great of a scorer.
I think part of that is just the teams he was on, though, too. I mean, let's factor as well. I mean, if Kawhi doesn't go to Toronto that year, what's Kyle Lowry's resume as a winner?
Oh, yeah. So definitely, what is that? 2019 saves Kyle Lowry's career. Just like 2016 saves Kyrie's career. You know what I'm saying? So I think.
I don't know.
But we're talking about top 15, top 10 player. You think Rondo was a top 10 player at one point?
Yeah, I don't think Kyrie was either. But I do think because he's made so many All-Star teams and stuff like that, like I don't think there's been a player that's made 10 or more that's missed it. For 6 or 7, it's possible you can make the argument.
Not was the best example, but I'm just saying as a career, to hold up this guy's career. I mean, 2016, without that, Kyrie just is
I think
the guy who ran around and scored a bunch.
The same argument, kind of like notoriety too. Even if Kyrie didn't win a ring, I think he just has a little bit more
cultural impact,
than Lowry. So that's what,
But you do think Rondo was like a top 10 player at one point? You're saying you're using that against Lowry for your loss?
No, I don't think so. But I'll say that I think if I had to pick one, I would pick I would probably pick Rondo, even though he wasn't the scorer Lowry was. I think his impact was just a little bit more.
I think defensively they're honestly about the same. I think Lowry, unbelievably good defender, underrated defender, all defense type of guy. Mm-hmm. And he's clearly got a better offensive game. So, I'm a big Lowry guy, though. I'm rolling that over Rondo all day.
Yeah, I respect that. I mean, it's a lot of discourse with these point guards. Now we can get into the mini game with the best of them all, Derrick Rose. The Rose Gold Trivia Minigame to close off the show. So how it's going to work is I have 5 questions for you. The first and last question, you either need to get it correctly right to get all the points or you won't get any points. Every question is worth 10 points, though. So the first one should be really easy, I would think. The last one might be kind of harder, impossible level. Questions 2 through 4, you don't have to get it exact, but depending on how close you are, you could get partial credit. So if you get everything perfect right on the dot, you'll get 50 points. So.
Okay, D-Froze Trivia. I'm locked in.
All right. D-Goat Trivia. So the first question, I feel like you should know this. Might be a little bit one of the harder first questions I've given, but I still think you should know this. What year was Derrick Rose drafted?
Oh, geez. 2008?
That is correct. Yes, it is 2008.
Okay.
There you go.
Gosh.
Yeah, that one was a little tricky, but I feel like it's probably easiest thinking about the MVP year 3, and then
I was thinking. Oh, I tracked it based off of the college, the Memphis.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
Yeah.
So, but just like that, you got 10 points, so you're on the board. Now, next 3, like I said, depending on how close you are, you could get partial credit. So for every 2 you are away from the correct answer on this one, you'll get subtracted a point. If you're more than 20 away from the correct answer, you won't get any points.
Okay.
So, number 2, how many total shots did D Rose block in his MVP season? Total blocks.
I'm actually okay. I think he got some in. I'm not gonna 0.1 is too low. 0.2.
Well, so I'm looking for the total number.
Right. So right. So I'm trying to do it by math.
Okay.
Per game. I'm getting had 37 block shots.
You going with 37?
I'll go with 39.
Okay, so you're going with
39 is my final answer. 37 felt a little low.
Gotcha. So it is not 39, but you were 12 away. It is 51.
51. Okay.
Yeah. So because of that, you still got 4 points because you were 12 away. So,
damn,
yeah.
50 block, dude. That's like kind of insane.
Yeah.
You're getting over a like that's actually some rim protection value as a. I mean, he had hops. I mean, it makes sense.
He had that athleticism, the bounce.
51 is kind of a shitload of blocks for a fucking point guard. Yeah, I'll give it to him.
And you do got a factor too. I mean, that was like one of the years he played a lot of games too. He only missed one game his MVP year. So
okay, yeah.
Which is
so he's averaged like 0.6 blocks a game. Damn.
Yeah, 0.6, 0.7, I think. So
that's some rim protection value. Honestly, that's a bit.
Yeah. So you still right now got 14 points, not bad. So the third question. So every season you are away from the correct answer, you'll get subtracted a point as well. So you should definitely at least get some points here, I would say. But what season did D Rose get paid the least of any season in NBA history? And that's like just his salary as a player.
What was his lowest salary season of getting paid?
Yeah, as a player. So like not endorsement.
Well, it would have to be his rookie contract. Because even the minimums were probably higher than the rookie deals, I would guess. But he was the first pick. Shit.
That is true.
Oh, man. Did he get a minimum with Minnesota? Was that maybe his lowest? I'm thinking right now because he probably did get, or like, the Cavs. It was his Cavs year.
So are you going?
What is that? 18-19?
18-19 was his Timberwolves year. 17-18 was where he was at the Cavs and went to the Wolves.
I'm gonna say 17-18. That's gonna be my guess.
Okay, so you're going 17-18.
Oh man, because I'm just thinking rookie scales. That's 17-18 is when Mike Conley started getting paid. They really bumped it up. Fuck. This is really tough. Okay. I'm thinking, was he on like a Knicks deal at that point? I don't think he was. I thought he was like getting like bought out. I'm going to say 17-18.
All right. Locking it in. 17-18.
Yes.
So it is not 17-18.
Okay.
But it was 18-19, so you were one season off. You still got 9 points for that.
Okay.
If you win with a rookie deal, you probably would have not got any points, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Good thing I didn't go there.
It's a little shocking, I feel like, because, I mean, that 18-19 was, like, his really good year with the Wolves, and, like, the year before, it was, like, a little worse.
Right. Well, it does make sense, because it was, like, 17-18 was like, oh, he's about to be out of the league. And then it's like, okay, we'll give it a prove-it deal here in next year. And he kind of, and then he was probably getting those $10 million, $12 million a year contracts, with Detroit and stuff after that.
So he actually, he technically made less money with the Cavs during that part of the year, but he also was getting paid by the Timberwolves and the Jazz. They still were paying him for the end of that year. So he technically made $2.3 million. And then the year after with the Wolves, he made $2.1 million.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
So it was very close, though, between those two. So
right.
So you still got, I think, 23 points right now. Not bad, not bad. Now, number 4, this one is going to be tough. So I'll say for every 2 spots you are away from where he ranks, I'll take away a point. Number 4, so Game 6 of the 2009 first round, Chicago-Boston. We were just talking about that. D. Rose had logged a lot of minutes in that game. So because of that game, where does he rank on the all-time single playoff game list for most minutes in a game?
Game 6, was that a multi-overtime game? Okay.
And I'm looking for the ranking, not like how many minutes he played.
Not how many minutes, right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure probably 4 guys from that game are on that list, on like this list. He probably got near 50 minutes in. I'll say I'll say 12.
You going 12?
I'll say 12. That might even be a little low, but I'll say 12.
Okay. So going with 12th all time, and it was a little low. It was 6. So
6, okay.
For every 2 you were away, so you lost 3 points there, but you still got 7. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I probably should, because it's like, how many 3 overtime games are there? I don't know why. Well, 12 is a little.
Yeah. So that was a little tricky, but still got some points there. You got points for all of them. I believe now.
Can we talk about that game though? That is one of the greatest basketball games ever played.
I love
Just
that.
Want to say that
it's a great game because like it really, I think that game really helped ignite like the Bulls to come like the next couple of years. So.
Oh yeah, that was definitely like, oh my God, this team, everybody, they're the young team of the future,
Yeah. So right now of 40 possible points, you got 30. We got one more question left. This one's probably impossible level. Although I do think it's not totally impossible. It just depends how much of a deep dive of history you've done on D Rose. So we'll see how it goes. There's only one answer for it. It's going to be challenging, and you either get all 10 points for if you get it right, you get 0 if you get it wrong. So are you ready?
Got you.
All right. So what is Derrick Rose's middle name?
Oh man, I should know this. I feel like
of all the names.
Okay, Floyd.
You rolling with Floyd? You said.
No, I'm not gonna roll with Floyd. Let me actually. Okay. Derrick Thomas Rose. Derrick Anderson Rose. Derrick Jeffries. Derrick. Derrick. That's Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Okay, let's. Derrick. We'll go Thomas.
Going with Thomas, locking it in.
Locking it in. Fuck it, dude. Shot in the dark.
All right. Well, it is not Thomas.
What is his middle name?
It is Derrick Martell Rose.
Of course, something hood like that. Of course.
It was gonna be tough.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why that is the impossible one. Not a lot of people. I think
so you would only get 10 points. You get 10 points for that. Okay.
Yeah. So you would get 10 points if you got it right. But I mean, it's
so 30 out of 50. I got a C. I got a D. Okay.
Hey, I mean, I will tell you, you're on the top half of the leaderboard as well. So
yeah, I'll take it.
That's a good thing right there.
Hey, at least I got 2008. Like honestly, I mean that would have fucking been atrocious if I didn't get the 2008.
That would have been tough. Yeah, I think I have to check how the tiebreakers work. Usually, I like structure by like the highest point question and then like the next highest point question stuff. But you're tied in the 11th spot with 2 other guys, and there's 25 people that have done it. So, I mean, that's still top half. That's not bad.
Top half, at least. Jeez.
Yeah.
My D-Rose knowledge isn't as high. But you guys, this is almost like you're the D-Rose fan club here. You know what I'm saying? You're almost the owner of the fan club. So.
This is true.
Yeah.
And if you got that last one, though, see how close you were. I mean, if you got the last one, you would have been 3rd. So that's still, like, it's not like you were that far off.
I still would have been 3rd? Jeez. Those guys guessed 50. They knew 51 blocks.
Well, so it is different questions, like, every time throughout the season and stuff like that. Okay. I usually put an easy one first. I put an impossible one near the end, and then
we don't get the same questions. Okay, got you.
Yeah. But, yeah, so overall, I mean, still a solid showing there, and I think it's a pretty good show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I don't know if you have anything you want to add before we close out here.
What did I want to add? I wanted to add that Dwayne Wade is the most overrated lead guard of all time and is an absolute terrorist. Couldn't space the floor. Terrible off-ball offensive player. And, yeah, that's all I have to say. Dwayne Wade sucks.
Wow, that is valid.
Anytime I have the chance.
Not a top 3 guard from Chicago. If you know,
nope.
You know.
Tim Hardaway's better. Fuck him. So is Wade. So is Rose.
Yep. But we'll have to see. I'm sure we'll be collabing again here sometime soon.
Hell yeah.
But
I love to, brother. Always a good time talking ball, dude. I love this shit.
Yes, sir. I know I've had you on before, but this is the first time obviously I've had you on the show, so I think it was.
Are you rocking a Pacers thing right now?
This is a Hickory Pacers hat.
Dude, the Hickory like 2017. Yeah, dude. That's cool.
This
dude.
is when I got it.
Yeah.
Actually, people don't know this, but I got it from like I played at the Hoosier gym, like in high school basketball.
Oh, dude,
and stuff.
that's sick.
So they gave us these. It was kind of cool. So no, I didn't like willingly get it as like a fake Bulls fan and like stuff like that. So
well, you're from Indiana. You gotta at least. It's kind of you know what I'm saying. And there's a lot of culture. Dude.
Yeah,
come on, Indiana basketball. You know,
for sure.
Hell yeah, dude.
But yeah, appreciate you once again joining me for this one.
Sir.
Hopefully,
Let
you guys.
me know, dude. I'm into this, dude. I'm always into talking ball, all this shit, dude. You know I love it.
Yes, sir. And hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and we're out. Peace.